Welcome from the sidelines of the ICR 2025 conference here in Orlando, Florida. I'm Jarrett Banks, Editor-at-Large of Exec Edge. Joining me is a repeat guest, Peter Kellis, the founder and CEO of Tray. Peter, welcome back to the program.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for ICR for hosting. And it's Peter Kellis. It's Greek.
Great.
Greek.
I will get that right. Okay, so what's changed since we spoke last year?
So last year we spoke, we were in the middle of rolling out IHOP. We're now fully done. So we rolled out our point of sale system to 1,600 restaurants. We did it in less than 12 months. And during the process of rolling out the POS, they also added a new loyalty program and handhelds for the servers. So the time it would normally take just to bolt on a server handheld program or a loyalty program, they were able to replace the whole thing. So lots of good feedback from the customers and the franchisees who are happy, and we're excited to have finished that rollout.
Okay, now let's get into your background a little bit. I know you've got a degree from MIT. What was the motivation behind...
2 degrees.
2 degrees
Yeah.
behind founding Tray?
So I never worked in a restaurant business, but I always worked in enterprise software. So I was with a company called EMC that does big data storage systems used by the government and banks and so on and so forth. And if you're down for 2 seconds, you may be losing $2 million. $1 million per second. It's that important that the system is up and running all the time. So that's the background I grew up with, enterprise systems, mission critical systems. And then while I never worked at restaurants, I've lived in many different countries. From Greece, I moved to France for high school. I've been in the US since college, at MIT, grad school. And everywhere I went out, I had the same problem getting service. So at a bar, you'd be busy, you have to stare at the bartender for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Otherwise you lose your turn, somebody else gets a drink, you don't get a drink. So I wanted to solve that problem of service. Similarly, when you sit at a table, you're waiting for your check. You might be done, you're ready to go, but the server is nowhere to be found. You cannot pay, therefore you're stuck. And I started by building a self-service application on my phone that would allow people to order and pay either at a bar or restaurant at a table. At the time, it was too early for restaurants. Restaurants thought they don't need it. It's great service as is. The bars thought they're fine. And then we started evolving that into self-service kiosks, and we started selling to bowling alleys, and we put it on the bowling lane because that's what people wanted. Instead of having to get up and go order food, they can continue bowling and they can use the kiosk instead. So we started growing in that vertical, and then so I never wanted to build a restaurant point of sale system. I just happened to use my background for data, which I have over 30 patents, by the way, in building and moving data around efficiently in the presence of failures, etc. So when I built that up, I built it for the enterprise from the ground up in a way that can handle the data consistently in a mission critical way through the presence of failures, through internet that is slow, and so on and so forth. And because the architecture was so good, when we started going to these conferences, there was a consultant that Dine Brands hired, and they paid them $1 million to go find the best architected point of sale system that meets their needs. And what we had is a system that is very open and independent. It is architected on Android, which is a free operating system, and it doesn't have the burdens of Windows because it was built for mobile devices. So it's a lightweight Linux-based system that was built for one application at a time, whereas Windows, as you know, it's, as the name implies, is to be able to see Windows on the screen, right? Android is built for one application. So we were able to create this architecture that's very robust, well architected on the back end that runs on Android, and we were able to run this Android operating system on existing hardware, even Windows hardware. So Dine, who has 1,600 restaurants, just replacing these old terminals that were old, but they're very functional, and they still operate well. It's just that their OS, the Windows system, was old, and it was getting slow, and it was falling out of PCI compliance. So one of their critical requirements was that the hardware be kept to save on CapEx. So we were able to do that. We're able to run Android on these old terminals. We breathe new life in the hardware. Of course, we have modern Android tools if you want them. If you want a modern tablet, for example, that runs Android, or a modern terminal. But by saving all this capex, they were able to invest instead in handhelds, and they were able to transform their entire business without having to overspend. So we now brought their table turn times down, because back to my dream why I started the company, you can order at IHOP and you can pay right at the table with a handheld. You don't have to wait for the server to go run your check, etc. The next step, of course, is we want to be, and we're about to launch that for another client, is the ability for a check to be shared truly in a multi-channel environment. So it's the same check, you can open it online, you can open it even before you go to the store or the restaurant. You can add items while you're there. The server can add them on their handheld or the POS, or you can add them as a user on your phone. And then you put your card, you either hand it to the server, they swipe the card is there, and you leave at any time, so you don't have to wait at the end. Or you can split the check with other friends of yours. You can scan a barcode on the table and everybody can access the same check and do payments and do orders, etc. So basically the whole dream I had when I started the company took a long time to materialize, because I think the market needed to catch up. We're at the point now where everybody's thinking about it and everybody's doing it. And hopefully we're at the forefront of that.
Right. I mean, it sounds like you're removing some of the frustrations, that I've experienced when going to restaurants. How many locations are you guys in?
So we're in about 2,000 locations. So our biggest client in terms of live locations is IHOP. Our biggest client actually in terms of licenses is in Saudi Arabia. We have an international presence and we're growing internationally. And we're doing the same use case that we're doing in the US, but we're able to do it in other languages, including Arabic and so on and so forth. We integrated with the local tax authorities for all these different countries. And we're adding dozens of locations per week. That's the pace at which we're growing at the moment.
Okay, I want to get a little bit more back into your background. You're kind of an AI expert. How do you see AI impacting the restaurant industry?
So I think it's starting to have an impact. Again, I don't think we found the killer use case for AI. People are trying different things. I think the one I'm excited about, I want to try, is when you're a server and you're at a table taking an order and you may have your handheld. As the people tell you what they want, you have to search the menu and find the right item and add it to the cart. What I want to do is I want to use voice AI to do that automatically. So the AI kind of pre-populates the card, creates the order, kind of how you heard it, and then you can always, as a server, go modify it. And similarly on the user side, you'll be able to see that check live as the server is modifying it, and you'll be able to add, modify, pay, put your card. So just making the whole experience of ordering and paying for your food easier.
Great. Last question. What is Trey prioritizing for the year ahead? What are you most excited about?
So excited about these new use cases, innovation. That's our biggest strong suit. We're a smaller company compared to the behemoths out there, but we're very innovative and we're able to work with select few customers and either customize what we have or help them integrate with a special sauce that they've built in the past. And many other systems, unfortunately, are either the way they are, and you get what you get, and you have to get the hardware, you have to get their payments, you have to get their loyalty. We're best of breed. So you can get our POS, you can get somebody else's payments, you can get somebody else's hardware. You find the best solutions you want, and we make sure everything ties together and integrates. So I'm excited to do that for more customers.
All right, we'll leave it there. My thanks to Peter Kellis, the founder and CEO of Trey. I'm Jarrett Banks, signing off from Orlando.